His ship had been hit by a sudden energy storm while passing through an unmarked system. Alarms screamed as he lost control. The crash had been hard. Metal twisted. Lights flickered. Fire spread. When he finally crawled out of the wreck, his arm was burned and blood ran down his face. He looked around. The forest was thick and glowing. Plants shimmered with strange colors. The air was warm and full of distant hums. This was not Earth. Not even close. No comms. No help. No map. He was stranded for 2 days. He survived on emergency rations. He tried to repair his beacon, but the tools were weak and his injury grew. Worse, fever crept in. He stumbled through the jungle, calling out in case someone or something might hear him. Then he collapsed. When he woke up, the stars had shifted overhead. Something soft pressed against his forehead. A voice, calm and strange, whispered near his ear. "Don't move. Your body is broken." He opened his eyes slowly. A young alien woman sat beside him. Her skin shimmered like polished stone, smooth and pale with a soft glow. Her eyes were golden and deep. Her face was calm but strong. She had long silver hair that moved like silk in the wind. She looked at him not with fear, but with curiosity. "Who are you?" Ellis whispered. "Sci-Fi," she said gently. "You are human." "Yes." He nodded weakly. She placed her hand on his shoulder. Warmth flowed from her fingers. At first it was pleasant, like sunlight. Then it grew hotter. Too hot, like a fire burning under his skin. He gasped in pain. But she didn't pull away. "Please, stop. You will heal," she said calmly. "But it will burn." And it did. Every second felt like flames crawling across his veins. But after a moment, the heat faded. The pain in his arm lessened. He touched it in disbelief. The burn marks were already healing. "What did you do?" Sci-Fi looked away. "My kind heals with energy. It is not made for humans. It hurts them." Ellis sat up slowly. His muscles still ached, but the fever was gone. He felt stronger. "You saved me." She stood up and looked around. "My people must not know you're here. They will fear you. They might kill you." "Why?" Ellis asked. "Because of what I just did," she said softly. "Because I touched you. We are not allowed to bond with outsiders." "Bond?" He frowned. "You mean, like healing?" She didn't answer. Instead, she picked up a small plant and crushed its leaves into a paste. She handed it to him. "Put this on your wound. It will cool the fire inside." Ellis took the paste and rubbed it on his skin. It soothed the leftover burn. But he couldn't stop looking at her. There was something about her presence soft, powerful, strange but also kind. "Thank you, Sci-Fi." She looked at him again, her golden eyes searching his face. "You are not like the others I was told about. And you're not what I expected either," he said. "You're not afraid of me. I should be." That night, Sci-Fi helped him build a small shelter hidden under thick roots. She brought food alien fruit, rich and sweet. She taught him how to avoid the glowing insects and strange beasts that lived nearby. She never stayed too long, always looking over her shoulder, always listening. But every day she came back, each time she touched him, to heal a bruise or clean a cut. He felt the same heat. Her fingers burned like fire. Yet he didn't flinch anymore. He had started to welcome it. And then one evening, as the sky turned orange with twin suns setting, she sat beside him and said, "You are getting stronger. Soon, you may leave." Ellis didn't speak. He wasn't sure he wanted to leave anymore. Sci-Fi looked at him. Her face was close. Her breath was warm. "Humans are strange," she whispered. "They feel so much, even when it hurts." Ellis smiled. "Maybe we're just stubborn." She leaned forward. "Do not tell anyone this happened." "What do you mean?" "What I'm about to do." Before he could answer, she kissed him. The heat exploded through his body. It was fire pure and wild, but it didn't hurt. It filled him. It made his heart race and his skin tingle. His vision blurred, and for a moment, all he felt was her. Then she pulled back, breathing hard. Ellis blinked. "What was that?" Sci-Fi stood up quickly. "I've made a mistake." "What are you talking about?" "You will feel it now. The bond, it has started. It is not safe." She turned and ran into the forest, disappearing into the glowing trees. Ella sat there, heart pounding, lips still burning. Her kiss felt like fire, and even though she was gone, he already knew he would go back for more. He lay inside the shelter, staring at the dark sky through the cracks in the roots above. The memory of her kiss wouldn't leave his mind. His lips still tingled. His chest felt warm, like something was glowing inside him. It wasn't just heat, it was something deeper, something he didn't understand, and she had run away. The next day, he searched for her. He walked carefully through the forest, calling her name softly. "Siree, I'm not angry. Just talk to me." But she didn't answer. He waited by the cliff where she once showed him the valley below. He waited at the lake where she had taught him to drink the safe water. He waited in the small cave where she first gave him glowing fruit. No sign of her. As the sun dropped behind the trees, he returned to the shelter, tired, alone, confused. Then something strange happened. His hands were shaking, but not from fear. His skin felt hot, like it was reacting to something. In his chest, it glowed faintly, as if a golden light was trapped under his skin. He pulled back his shirt and stared. "What is this?" he whispered. He didn't feel sick. In fact, he felt more alive than ever. The next morning, she came back. Scifi stood at the edge of the clearing. Her eyes looked tired, and her silver hair was messy. She didn't step closer. "You should have left already," she said. Ella stood up slowly. "I couldn't. You don't understand what I've done." "Then explain it to me," he said, "because all I know is you saved me, you helped me, and then you kissed me. Now something's happening to me, and I don't even know if it's good or bad." Siree walked closer. Her hands were shaking too. She didn't look angry, she looked scared. "When my kind shares a kiss like that," she said softly, "it is not a greeting. It is a bond. It connects to lives. It changes both." Ellis frowned. "I thought it was just a kiss." "Not for us," she whispered. "We are energy-based. Our emotions flow into others. That kiss, it left a mark on you." He looked at his chest. "You mean this light?" She nodded. "Our bond is growing. Your body is trying to match mine. It is adapting. Is it dangerous?" She paused. "For you? Maybe. For us both? Definitely." Ellis sighed and sat back down. "Then why did you do it?" She closed her eyes. "Because I wanted to. And that was my mistake." He looked up at her. "If it's a mistake, then why did you come back?" She didn't answer right away. She sat across from him and stared at the sky. "I've never met a human before," she said. "My people say your kind is wild, dangerous, full of chaos. But you were kind, broken, but kind." Ellis smiled a little. "Humans are a mix of both, I guess." Siree looked at him. "I didn't mean to bond with you, but now it's too late. The energy is growing. If my people sense it, they'll know. They'll come." "What happens if they come?" "They'll erase the bond, destroy the one who doesn't belong." Ellis stared at her. "That means me." She nodded slowly. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Only the soft hum of insects and the wind in the trees filled the air. Then Ellis said, "I don't care." Siree looked at him in shock. "You don't care about your life. I care about this." He said, tapping his chest, "Whatever's happening, it feels right, and I want to understand it. With you." Siree's eyes softened. She moved closer. "You are strange, human. So are you," he said, smiling. "But maybe that's why it works." She didn't kiss him again. Not yet. But she stayed the night. They talked about her people, the Alari, beings who lived in hidden forests and used emotion as power. They avoided contact with other species, fearing their emotions would be too wild to control. Ellis told her about Earth, about cities, skies full of ships, and oceans full of storms. She listened with wide eyes, fascinated. As the night deepened, the bond between them grew without touch. It was in their words, their looks, the silences between them. The next day, Ellis woke up with light still glowing in his chest but softer. Now, like it had settled. Scifi smiled when she saw him. "Your body is adjusting. The bond hasn't harmed you." He grinned. "See, maybe I'm not so weak." But her smile faded. "Others will come, soon." Ellis looked into her golden eyes. Then let them. I'm not leaving you. Saray stepped closer. Her hand touched his face. It burned again. And still. He leaned and sir, I didn't come to him. The next morning, Ellis waited near the shelter. The sunlight passed through the glowing trees, painting golden colors on the leaves, but there was no sign of her. The silence felt heavy. He touched the center of his chest. The soft light inside was still there, warm, steady, like a heartbeat. He felt her absence in that warmth. Finally, she appeared just before nightfall. Her steps were quiet. Her face looked troubled. You feel it, don't you? She asked before sitting beside him. Ellis nodded. You were far, but it still felt like you were near. Saray looked at the sky. The bond has grown faster than it should. It's not just energy now. It's connection, thought, presence. I know. Ellis said softly. I woke up knowing you were in danger. I just didn't know from what. Saray blinked. You felt that? He nodded. Yes. Are you in danger? They are coming. She said quietly. My people, they sense something. They don't know exactly what yet, but they are searching. Ellis stayed silent for a moment. Then he asked, can we run? There is nowhere far enough. If they scan this forest deeply, they will find you. So what do we do? She looked at him. We hide. And we wait. But if they see the bond mark glowing in you, they will understand everything. Then there will be no hiding. Ellis stared into the fire. You said the bond changes both of us. Is it doing something to you too? Saray nodded. I feel emotions I've never felt before. Your thoughts come in waves, your memories, your dreams, your hopes. I try to block it, but it's not easy anymore. I'm sorry, Ellis said. Don't be, she whispered. It's strange, but it's not painful. He turned toward her. It's strange for me too, but it doesn't feel wrong. She didn't answer. Instead, she leaned forward slowly and rested her forehead against his. Their eyes closed, neither spoke. Their breathing matched. For a moment, there was no jungle, no danger, no fear, only peace. Then a pulse hit them both. Ellis gasped and held his chest. Saray's eyes went wide. They're here. Now, she stood up quickly. A scout, close. We must move. They packed quickly, just some fruit, water, and a few tools. Saray led the way through the trees. Her steps were light. Ellis followed closely. Using what she had taught him about the forest, they crossed glowing streams, climbed over thick roots, and moved through clouds of gentle floating spores. Finally, they reached an old overgrown path that led to a stone arch. Vines covered most of it, and it looked forgotten by time. Sir, I paused. This was once a temple of the bond keepers. Bond keepers, long ago. Our kind honored the energy bonds, even between species. But something changed. Fear replaced trust. Now this place is hidden, but not dead. They entered the ruins. Strange symbols covered the walls. Broken statues stood tall, half swallowed by moss. Ellis touched a carving of two figures holding hands. One looked like Saray's kind, the other clearly human. This can't be new, he whispered. It's not, she said. Our two kinds once stood together, but the Council of Elders buried this history. They feared the fire inside us would grow wild if mixed with human emotion. Ellis looked at her. But we're here, and it's not wild, it's strong. Saray nodded slowly. We must show them the truth. They set up camp inside the ruins. The walls protected them from outside scans for now. Saray drew lines on the stone floor. Ancient symbols of her people. Ellis helped, following her lead. She explained that these symbols could send a message to anyone tuned to their energy. But if we send the signal, she warned, they will know exactly where we are. Ellis looked into her eyes. Then let's show them what they fear. Let's show them it's not something to destroy but something to learn from. She hesitated, then nodded. As the sun rose, they stood in the center of the ruin. Saray pressed her hand to the floor. The symbols glowed. Ellis felt the fire inside him respond. He stepped forward and placed his hand over hers. A burst of light shot up from the floor. It was silent, yet powerful. A soft hum filled the air, like a song with no words. Then it faded. The message is sent. She whispered. Ellis didn't move. Do you think they'll come with understanding? Sci-Fi looked into the forest. No, not yet, but we've planted the truth. Now, we must be ready. Ellis nodded and looked at her. No matter what happens, I won't leave your side. Sci-Fi didn't speak. Instead, she kissed him. Again, the fire came, and again, he welcomed it. The next morning, Ellis woke up to a heavy silence. I was already up, standing by the entrance of their makeshift shelter, looking out over the jungle. The air felt different today, charged, almost as if the world itself was holding its breath. Ellis sat up slowly, still feeling the warmth from the bond between them. His chest was still glowing softly. Every time he focused on it, he could feel her presence, her thoughts, her emotions. It wasn't like anything he had ever experienced before. He stood up and walked over to her. Do you feel that? He asked, his voice low. She didn't turn to face him, but nodded. They are getting closer. I can feel them. The scouts are searching. Ellis knew the time to run was coming. But where could they go? The forest was vast, but her people would track them down sooner or later. They couldn't hide forever. Sci-Fi. He started, but she raised her hand. Don't say it, she whispered. We have to face them. The message is already sent. It's too late to turn back now. He wanted to argue, to find another way. But deep down, he knew she was right. They had reached a point where running wasn't an option. The bond between them had made that clear. You're not alone in this, Ellis said quietly. I'm with you, no matter what happens. She turned to face him, her golden eyes filled with something he couldn't quite read. Fear? Determination? Maybe both, but there was a softness there too, something she hadn't shown before. I know, she said softly, and that is why I'm afraid. He frowned. What do you mean? She looked away, her gaze drifting to the dense trees around them, because this bond, it's more than just us. It's a message to the galaxy, and that scares me. It means we are not just breaking the rules. We are rewriting everything. Ellis stepped closer, placing a hand on her arm. You don't have to be afraid, Sci-Fi. We can't control how others react, but we can control what we do. And what we do now is stand together. She turned her head slightly, meeting his gaze. I never thought I would be this close to a human. But now, I can't imagine my life without you. Not after everything that has happened. Ellis smiled, squeezing her arm. Me neither. For a long moment, they stood in silence, listening to the distant sounds of the jungle. Then, the air shifted. Something had changed. Something was coming. Ellis stiffened. They're here. Sci-Fi nodded. They will be here soon. I can feel their presence. What do we do? He asked. We wait, she said, her voice steady. They will come for the bond. They will try to break it, but they cannot destroy it. Ellis didn't know what to expect, but he stayed close to her, feeling the connection growing stronger by the second. The bond between them wasn't just emotional, it was physical too. He could feel her heart, her breath, as if they were one. And it terrified him, yet in the same moment, it made him feel more alive than ever. The forest grew quieter as they waited. Every leaf, every twig seemed to hold its breath. The bond pulsed between them, growing stronger, brighter. Ellis could hear his heartbeat in his chest, thudding in time with hers. Finally, the first of her people appeared. Tall, dark-skinned beings with glowing eyes and cloaks that blended into the shadows. They didn't speak, but their presence was enough. They surrounded them, standing like silent sentinels. Sir, I stepped forward, her hand outstretched. You know what we have done, she said in a voice that echoed with authority. The lead figure nodded, his golden eyes narrowing. You have broken the laws. You have bonded with the human. He is not just a human, Sci-Fi said, her voice rising. He is my bondmate, and this bond is real. Ellis watched as the others took slow steps forward, their faces unreadable. The tension in the air thickened. You cannot change the rules, Sci-Fi, the leader said. Our people have feared this for centuries. A bond between us and humans was forbidden for a reason. But you've been wrong, Sci-Fi replied. This bond is not dangerous, it is powerful, and we can change the future together. The leader's gaze shifted to Ellis. You feel it too, human, don't you? Ellis nodded slowly. I feel everything, and I'm not afraid. There was a long pause. The silence was deafening. Finally, the leader spoke again. We will not destroy the bond, but we will not accept it easily either. You will have to prove it. How? Ellis asked. You will stand before the council. Let them decide your fate. Sci-Fi stepped closer to Ellis. And if the council says no, then we will leave, Ellis said firmly, together. No matter what. She looked at him, a small smile tugging at the corner of her lips, together. The journey to the council was long and silent. Ellis and Sci-Fi walked through the jungle, the air thick with the scent of alien flowers. Their footsteps were soft against the moss-covered ground, but every step felt heavy. They knew the council would decide their fate, their bond, their love, their future. Everything rested on the council's judgment. Sci-Fi didn't speak much. She was deep in thought, her golden eyes often gazing into the distance. She had been silent for most of the journey, her mind a storm of uncertainty. Ellis didn't push her to talk. He understood. This wasn't just a trial for him, it was for her to. They reached the council grounds by nightfall. The council's home was built into the side of a massive cliff, hidden from sight by the dense forest. The walls of the structure were made of smooth stone, covered in vines and glowing plants. It was a place of ancient power, a place where her people made decisions that affected the future of their entire species. As they approached, two guards stepped forward, blocking their path. Their faces were stern, their eyes filled with judgment. One of them spoke in a low, commanding voice. Sci-Fi, you have brought the human. The council is ready to hear your defense. Sci-Fi nodded, her hands clenched at her sides. Ellis stepped closer to her, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. We are ready, Ellis said, his voice steady. The guards led them inside, through dark stone halls lit only by the faint glow of bioluminescent moss. The air was cool and filled with the quiet hum of distant conversations. As they entered the council chamber, the room fell silent. The council sat in a circle, their faces calm and impassive, their eyes, glowing a soft golden hue, turned to focus on Sci-Fi and Ellis as they approached. The leader of the council, an elder with silver hair and a dignified presence, spoke first. Sci-Fi, you have brought a human here. This bond you claim to share. We have not seen anything like it in centuries. Do you believe it is truly possible for one of your kind to bond with an outsider? Sci-Fi stood tall, her heart racing in her chest. Yes, she said firmly. I believe it is possible, and I believe it is necessary. There was a long pause as the council members exchanged silent glances. Then, one of the council members, a younger female with dark blue skin, spoke up. But the bond between us and humans is forbidden. Our kind has lived in isolation for a reason. We do not mingle with others, especially not with a species as unpredictable as humans. What makes this bond different? Sci-Fi took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts. This bond is not like the others. It is not just a connection of energy, it is a connection of hearts. When I touch him, I do not just feel his emotions. I feel his pain, his hopes, his dreams. I see a future where our two species can learn from each other, where we can grow stronger together. Ellis stepped forward, his voice calm but full of conviction. Sci-Fi is right. Our bond is not something to be feared. I've felt it myself. And it's not just about us. It's about something bigger, something the galaxy has never seen before. The council leader's gaze shifted to Ellis, his golden eyes sharp and piercing. You are human. Your kind has caused chaos throughout the galaxy. You are not known for your wisdom, but for your violence and unpredictability. Why should we believe you when you say this bond is not a threat? Ellis met his gaze without flinching. Because I know what it feels like to be afraid, to be alone, and I know what it feels like to have someone beside you. Even when the world doesn't understand, this bond, this connection, it's stronger than anything I've ever felt. And I believe it can be a bridge, not just between Sci-Fi and me, but between our two worlds. The room was silent again. The council members seemed deep in thought, their eyes flickering with a mix of curiosity and doubt. Finally, the council leader spoke once more. You speak of a future where your two kinds can coexist, But how do we know this bond will not destroy you both? How do we know it will not cause harm to the galaxy? You don't, Sci said softly, but you don't know that it will either. We are willing to take the risk. Because sometimes the greatest rewards come from the greatest risks. The council leader nodded slowly, as if weighing her words. After a long moment, he stood up. This is not an easy decision, but we will not make it in haste. We will observe you, both of you. We will watch how this bond develops, and if it proves to be as harmless as you claim, then we will reconsider our position. But for now, you will not be punished. Sci and Ellis both exhaled, the weight of the room lifting slightly. But the council leader's final words kept them on edge. However, if this bond causes any harm to either of your species, we will not hesitate to act. With that, the council leader gestured for them to leave. Sci and Ellis exchanged a look, a mix of relief and uncertainty in their eyes. The decision wasn't final, but it was a step forward. As they left the council chamber, Sci turned to Ellis. We've won for now, she said quietly. Ellis smiled. It's a start, and it's a future worth fighting for. They walked out of the chamber together, hand in hand, ready for whatever came next. The days after the council's decision felt like they were walking on the edge of a knife. Sci and Ellis lived in the ruins, hiding in plain sight. The council had not rejected them, but they had not fully accepted them either. It was a waiting game, one that neither of them enjoyed. Sci was quieter now. Her eyes often scanned the horizon, always searching, always alert. The bond between her and Ellis pulsed softly, but with every passing day, it grew stronger. She could feel his presence even when he wasn't near. Sometimes, she would wake in the middle of the night to find him just standing beside her, his hand resting on the wall, as if he, too, couldn't sleep. It's too much, isn't it? Ellis said one night, as they sat near the fire. This waiting, the uncertainty. Sci didn't look at him, her gaze focused on the flames. We knew this wouldn't be easy. But it doesn't make it easier, he said, his voice low. I feel like we're stuck in a moment that will never end. The council, they're watching us. They are, she agreed. But they must understand this bond before they can accept it. Ellis sighed and leaned back, staring at the stars above. The sky here was unlike any he had seen. The moons hung high, and the stars stretched across the sky in patterns he couldn't understand. It felt both comforting and alien at the same time. What if they never accept us? He asked quietly. What if we're stuck like this forever? Sci turned to him then, her eyes soft but serious. Then we fight. We show them why this bond matters. Why it can change everything. Ellis smiled at her. He had come to love the way she spoke, so determined, so strong. It was one of the things that had drawn him to her in the first place. And now, he couldn't imagine a life without her. The next day, something changed. They had been walking through the jungle when they felt it, a sudden, sharp pulse in the bond between them. It was as if something had shifted, something important. Did you feel that? Ellis asked, his voice tense. Sci nodded, her expression serious. Yes. They are here. Who? He asked, his heart racing. The council, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. They are coming to test us. Ellis turned, scanning the trees around them. How do we know it's them? Sci's eyes were already searching the forest. I can feel them. Their energy. They're coming. Within moments. The jungle seemed to come alive with movement. Figures stepped from the shadows, her people. Silent and watchful. They didn't speak, but their presence was enough. They were here, and they were ready. The leader of the council approached them first. His gaze was sharp, but there was something different in his eyes this time. Something less judgmental, more curious. Sci, he said, his voice echoing. In the quiet jungle. Ellis, what is this? Sci asked, her voice steady. Why are you here? The leader stepped closer. We have seen the bond grow between you. We have felt its power, and we have decided it is time to see it for ourselves. Ellis exchanged a glance with Sci. What does that mean? We will test it. The leader said, we will see if this bond is truly as powerful as you claim. We will see if it can hold against the pressure we will put on it. And if it breaks, Sci-Fi asked, her voice tight. Then we will know it was a mistake, the leader said. But if it holds, if it proves itself to be as strong as you say, then we will accept it. Ellis and Sci-Fi stood in silence for a long moment. The weight of the council's decision was heavy, but they couldn't back down now. They had come too far. They had shared too much. The bond had already proven itself in so many ways. Why should this test be any different? We're ready, Ellis said, his voice firm. Sir, I nodded. We are ready. The leader nodded once, then motioned for the others to step forward. The council members surrounded them, forming a circle. They raised their hands, and in unison, a wave of energy flowed from them, filling the air with an electric charge. Ellis felt it immediately. The pressure, the force pushing against him, it wasn't like anything he had ever experienced. It was like 100 hands trying to pull him in different directions. But through it all, he felt Sci-Fi beside him, the warmth of her presence, the steady pulse of the bond between them, the fire inside him. He reached out, his hand brushing hers. The moment their skin touched, the pressure in the air seemed to vanish. The energy between them flared, lighting up the jungle around them. The council members watched in silence, their faces unreadable. The leader stepped forward, his golden eyes focused on Ellis and Sci-Fi. It is stronger than we thought. Ellis looked at Sci-Fi, his heart racing. We did it, Sci-Fi smiled softly, her eyes shining. We did. The leader nodded. This bond, it is unlike anything we have seen before. It is not a threat. It is a promise of what could be. The council members exchanged glances, murmuring among themselves. Then the leader turned back to them. We will not fight this bond. We will not destroy it. Instead, we will learn from it, and we will allow you both to live as you choose. Ellis felt a weight lift off his chest. They had done it. They had prov. And themselves. The bond was real. And now, the galaxy would see it for what it truly was, a chance for change, a chance for unity. Thank you, Sci-Fi whispered, her hand still resting in his. Ellis squeezed her hand, smiling. No, thank you. The decision from the council was final. It had been a long, tense moment, but now, standing in the glow of the alien forest, Ellis and Sci-Fi finally felt the weight of the journey lift from their shoulders. The council had accepted their bond not with open arms, but with understanding, and that was enough. They walked back to the ruins where they had made their home, side by side. The bond between them still hummed softly beneath their skin, a constant reminder of how far they had come. It was no longer just a connection. It had become a part of them, a part of everything they were building together. You know, Ellis said, breaking the silence as they walked, this is nothing like I imagined my life would be. Never thought I'd be here. Never thought I'd be with you. Sci-Fi looked over at him, her golden eyes soft. Neither did I, she admitted. But it is not a mistake. No, he agreed, smiling at her. It feels like the only thing that was ever meant to happen. They reached the shelter, the place that had become their haven, the stone. Walls felt familiar now, as did the soft moss beneath their feet. But tonight, it felt different. Tonight, it felt like the start of something new. Sir, turned to face him, her hand brushing his. We have much to do. The galaxy has not seen us yet. They do not know what we have started. Ellis nodded. But they will. They'll see what we've built together. They sat by the fire, their hands intertwined. The flames danced in the darkness, casting shadows on the stone walls around them. For the first time in a long while, they were at peace. There were still challenges ahead, but they were no longer afraid. Together, they could face anything. Do you think they'll come for us again? Ellis asked, his voice soft. Sir, I thought for a moment before replying. Perhaps, but we will not hide. We will not run. We have shown them who we are. Now, we wait for the rest of the galaxy to see it too. Ellis smiled, the firelight reflecting in his eyes, and when they do, they'll understand. They'll see we're not enemies. We're something new. Sci-Fi leaned in, her lips brushing his gently. The kiss was warm, familiar, and full of promise. The fire that had started between them, the fire that had burned so brightly at the beginning, was now a steady flame. It didn't consume them anymore, it protected them. It was a beacon for what was to come. As they pulled away, Sci-Fi rested her forehead against his. "We are stronger than we ever imagined," she whispered. Ellis nodded, his heart full. "Together, we're unstoppable." The days that followed were filled with quiet moments of discovery. They spent their time exploring the ruins, learning more about the ancient bondkeepers and their history. They uncovered records that spoke of alliances between different species, alliances that were broken by fear and misunderstanding. But now, they had the chance to rebuild. They had the chance to start again. They sent messages to the nearby systems, telling the galaxy what had happened. They shared their story, their bond, and their hope for the future. It wasn't easy. There were those who still feared the connection between humans and Sci-Fi's kind. But there were others, too, who saw the truth in their words. Slowly, the tide began to shift. Months passed, and though the threat of the Council's judgment still loomed, Ellis and Sci-Fi found themselves growing more and more confident. They were not just survivors anymore. They were leaders. They were pioneers of something new. And the bond between them, the one that had started as fire, was now something unbreakable. One evening, as they sat together by the fire, Ellis turned to Sci-Fi with a smile. "Do you ever think about the future? What it will look like when the galaxy accepts us?" Sci-Fi smiled back, her eyes sparkling with hope. "I do. But I do not need to imagine it. I see it in you, in us." Ellis kissed her again, the fire burning between them stronger than ever. This time, it wasn't just a kiss, it was a promise of a future built together, of a bond that would withstand anything the galaxy could throw at them. And as they pulled away, looking out at the stars above, Ellis knew that no matter what came next, they were ready. They had fought for this. They had fought for each other. And they would never stop.